Thanks for staying with us. My name is Ernest. To our first story now. We don't have information on Agenda 111 in our custody. That's the response from the Health Ministry to JoyNews. JoyNews' attempt to utilize the RTI, that's the Right to Information law, has hit a snag after the Health Ministry told the media house it did not have information on government's flagship infrastructure project, Agenda 111. We'll be telling you the rationale for our request, but before that, let's share with you details of JoyNews' letter to the Health Ministry and the response we got from them. So it says, request for information about government's Agenda 111 project pursuant to the Right to Information Act 2019, Act 989. I write to request access to information held by your office with the following details. Copies of the policy or policies underpinning the project. 2, detailed project proposal including feasibility studies and funding sources secured. 3, list of all districts where projects will be cited. 4, detailed plan for commencement and completion of each of the projects and detailed plan for staffing and operation of each of the hospitals. Kindly supply the certified copies in a PDF file and send via to me at raymondakwa@myjoyonline.com or send hard copies to the undersigned at the designated address. Thank you. Yours in the service of humanity, Raymond Akwa, who is head of our research desk, and he will join us here on JoyNews Prime shortly. Now, let me bring you what JoyNews actually sent. So that was what JoyNews actually sent to the RTI Commission. Let me bring you the response, but let me tell you why this is important first of all. President Akufo-Addo on Tuesday, August 17th, launched the Agenda 111 project. The project will cover the design, procurement, construction, furnishing and commissioning of 101 district hospitals, 6 regional hospitals in newly created regions, as well as 1 regional hospital in the Western region. We also had 2 psychiatric hospitals in Kumasi, Tamale, and the redevelopment of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, and we'll tell you more on that shortly. The project is also to ensure that Ghanaians nationwide have access to quality healthcare services. Doctors, nurses, and other health personnel will have accommodation in the hospitals to be constructed. We're also told that the facility will include 4 state-of-the-art surgical theaters for maternity, obstetrics, and gynecology, and a full complement of male and female pediatric and isolation wards, among others. Now, according to government, on completion, the venture will be the largest investment in health infrastructure in the country since independence. So what's the status of this project? That is why we put in this request. Raymond Akwa, who is head of our research desk, joins me on the phone with specific responses to these requests. Raymond, first of all, this is important because we needed an update on this. Now, we actually put in the work because we definitely had been doing some work on this. But Raymond, this is disappointing. The response we got from them is disappointing, especially because there have been some disclosures made by the minister himself and other functionaries on this issue. Some in the last few months, to which we expected an update. What do you know, and why does this response smack of an attempt to simply shut the door on us?
Certainly, for example, we asked for specific issues to do with policy and policies underpinning this particular project. Now, the interesting part is that we've heard government, and specifically the minister, make some comments in this particular direction. We've also heard very key people in government talk about this in forms that have been clear to us. Now, when the response says that this is, the response is about, and that per their records, they do not have the information that we actually asked for, it suggests that they perhaps do not have detailed project proposals, including feasibility studies and funding sources secured. But we know that as far back as February this year, the website of this state ministry has put up a story quoting a briefing by the Information Ministry, which reads in part that government, as I'm quoting here, has secured $100 million for a startup fund through the Ghana Investment Infrastructure Fund for the commencement of work on Agenda 111. And this is to do with district, specialized, and regional hospitals across the country. So this shows that the ministry, at least, is aware or in part has been told of the cost of this project and how that part is supposed to be dealt with, and the amount that has already been secured in this case. But they claim that they do not have this information in their custody. That is the disappointing part, because every single indication suggests that they are in the known of this particular amount of money.
And Raymond, there's the controversy also about who is controlling this project. The minority had alleged that it was being controlled from the seat of government, the presidency, but that was denied by the party led by Yabo Abiasamwa and other government functionaries. What have we discovered in this regard?
No, we understand, to be fair, that the minister, even the minister had hinted that there is an implementation committee. This committee is stationed at the Flagstaff House and includes the health minister and other ministries who are to do with building and also housing and various elements within this project. This implementation committee is absolutely responsible for the project. And as I said earlier, the Ministry of Health is part, or the Minister of Health is part of this project. So while the claim first had been that the minority stated clearly that they felt this was being run from the Flagstaff House, this was rejected by the Director of Communications of the NPP, but we know in some part that the minister himself has said that it is a committee of implementation stationed or headquartered at the Flagstaff House or the Jubilee House that's in charge of this project.
Raymond, we have a clip of the minister speaking on February 9 at the Information Ministry where a question was asked about Agenda 111. We'll take that and I'll return to you.
I dreamt there was going to be a question on Agenda 111. And I didn't include it in my slides, but I invited somebody who is working under the supervision of the Chief of Staff, because this is a very big flagship program situated under the President's own eye. And a small group has been formed, Health Infrastructure Group. The coordinator is here, and I think I want him to brief you on what is happening there. They give me reports, and we collaborate with them. So I can tell you what it is, but it's good to come from Isomat. So Kwabra, wait, after my responses, you can come and then just give us some small insight into where we are with Agenda 111. The young man from Joy who asked.
As I speak, out of the 101 district hospitals that were designated, 92 sites have been identified and are available for work. 41 of those had some challenges, and those are mainly to do with the terrain. So we've had to look at some alternative arrangements for that. 51 of those are fine. Processes have started. So as we speak, 63 of those sites have been cleared and are ready. There's a whole list. I believe that the Ministry of Information will furnish you with all the additional details. The contractors, the plan is to pay them some mobilization. So 10% of their contract sums will be paid as advance mobilization. 138 of those have been paid. They are mobilizing to site. Some have actually started work on site. I have a list of at least 10 sites that work has actually started, and quite a bit of work is going on. I'll touch on the psychiatric hospitals because I think the gentleman raised the issue. There are 2 psychiatric hospitals as part of the program in the Middle Belt and the Northern Belt. All the technical details have been completed, the drawings. We had to do soil tests for all the 92 sites that have been identified. We had to do geotechnical investigations, soil tests, and also the topography. We had to send surveyors to all these sites to go and survey the sites and establish the topography and so on. So that has all been done. So work will be commencing very soon on the psychiatric hospitals. Also on the regional hospitals, we went through a tender process. The contractors have submitted their tender. It's being evaluated as we speak. And following from that, it will go through a value for money process, and all the commercial arrangements will go through Parliament and so on. Same applies to the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. So that's where we are. We believe that hopefully by the end of March, we'll have at least 67 of these sites that are working on the Agenda 101, the district hospitals. We'll have at least 67 by the end of March that are working. Each hospital has a completion time of about 18 months. And 18 months is from when the project starts for a particular location. So it's a staggered commencement and to be a staggered completion program as well.
So you listen to all of that, and yet the ministry writes back to say, we do not have information. Let's put up the response of the ministry to our request. So there you have it on your screen. It says, it is about your letter dated February 11, 2022 on the subject request for information about government's Agenda 111 project. Per our record, we do not have the information in our custody. Thank you. But Raymond, you heard the minister in this clip say that the committee that is coordinating this from the presidency reports to him. So if you hear again the suggestion that our story does not reflect the true situation or the response given, and that there could be some other information that we are missing, why would that point be moot? Well, we seem to have lost Raymond Aqua there. But all of this is coming just days after the Information Minister, Kojo Ponkrumah, urged citizens and indeed the media to take advantage of the RTI law for their work. He spoke on the floor of Parliament in response to a question. Listen.
Mr. Speaker, for the year 2020, 72 of the applications were granted, 6 were rejected, 3 were transferred, 3 were referred, 1 was deferred. For the year 2021, 95 applications were granted, 7 rejected, 6 transferred, 17 referred, 2 deferred, and 2 reviewed. And for the year 2022 so far, out of the 10 that have been received, 8 have already been granted, 1 has been rejected, and 1 has been referred to the appropriate ministry, department, or agency to respond to it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, a careful look at the responses given by the Minister of Information would show some form of reduction in activism or an attempt to make requests to the RTI Commission. Do you have any reasons, or would you be able to tell us what may account for that reduction when you do the year-on-year comparison?
Of RTI implementation in other jurisdictions shows that in the very first...
Now, Member of Parliament for Offence South constituency, Isaac Yaopoku, has vowed to resist any attempt by the Health Ministry to shortchange constituencies in the construction of a 40-bed district hospital to improve access to health care. The Health Minister, Kweku Agyeman-Manu, joined the consideration of a €38 million facility for the construction of some 5 district hospitals, requested to alter an error in the list of areas earmarked for the construction. He observed that the proposed construction of the hospital at Offenso South should rather be Offenso North, arguing that constituents of Offenso South already have a health facility. But the MP, Isaac Opoku, who was incensed by the minister's claim, accused him of bias, insisting the facility is a private one.
Mr. Speaker, if you look at the motion, we are actually approving motion 23 for construction of equipment at 40-bed district hospitals as Ayinsuado, Ifiduase, and Offenso. Mr. Speaker, the Offenso one should be Offenso North. We already have a child hospital at Offenso, and this is going to add on to another hospital in Offenso again, when Offenso North hasn't got a hospital. So there is an omission there. That should be Offenso North. Therefore, consequentially, all the records reflect Offenso North instead of just Offenso, so that we locate this at Akumadine instead of Offenso again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. So now the question is,
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, member for Offenso South.
Yeah, I have an issue. Mr. Speaker, originally this project is for Offenso. I asked the minister, and the minister said we have a hospital at Offenso South, St. Patrick Hospital. Mr. Speaker, St. Patrick Hospital is not a government hospital. Originally, this project is for Offenso South. Mr. Speaker, we will not agree. It is not fair. Why are we treating Offenso South like that? We won't agree. Mr. Speaker, we are not agreeing. They just told me from Offenso that they are taking the project from Offenso South. Mr. Speaker, we have gotten the land and everything. We are not agreeing. Mr. Speaker, it will not happen.